the year before that, I had gotten married. One time he told me that I absolutely could not get married until I was 17. And I had a boyfriend from the time I was 15. We just went steady, and it was always, when we grow up, we'll get married. And since Dad set this 17, on my birthday I was sitting on the floor playing with my paper dolls, real grown up, and my boyfriend showed up and he says, "Want to get married tomorrow?" And I said, "Sure," and we did. And he worked at a sawmill, and it was in the Depression then, and so it was rare for somebody that young, he was 19, to have a job. And he earned 32.5 cents an hour. And we lived in a one-room, can't call it a house. It was his brother.
Cottage.
His brother had built it with green lumber. So as it dried out, I could sweep across the floor and stuff just went through the cracks. Didn't even have doorknobs, just had a leather strap with a nail. The cheapest wood stove we could buy, so it was either too hot or not hot enough. And I had belonged to the 4-H club, a cooking club, so I liked to bake things. Well, I tried baking in that crazy stove, and it didn't turn out too good. And in the mornings, I would have to start up the fire and make breakfast. And my husband would sit there and sing, "I Wish I Was Single Again," and I'd cry and make breakfast.
What was your daily routine like at that point as a married woman?
Well, as a teenager, there were 2 other young wives in the camp. I was 17, one was 19, and one was 20. It happened, their husbands were bosses. But I would go visit with them. But then I'd have to be home for lunch, get the fire going in the stove, and fix his lunch. So he tried to have pitchwood available so I could, build a fast fire. And sometimes it was sapwood and all I got was smoke. And then he'd have to go over to the cookhouse to eat, and all the guys would razz him, which they razzed him a lot about. I'd go swimming with the kids, and I wasn't grown up. Oh, I thought I was. I didn't really learn to drive for years and years. Just, he was the man of the house, and he controlled everything. If he would give me $1, I had to account for every penny. And so when he said, one time, we're living in California, every Sunday we went for a Sunday drive. And this one Sunday, we had another couple with us. And the guys in the front seat, they're talking about going to welding school and getting a job in the shipyard. And I pipe up and said, "That's what I want to do too." And I don't think he believed me. He certainly didn't approve of it. And I did it. I went to not right away, but I finally finally did it. I went to the employment office. I got my Social Security card and was told to go to Richmond High School to learn to weld from 4 to 8 in the morning.
When you first started working, did you feel a sense of freedom all of a sudden? Or was it? It must have been hard work too.
It was hard physical work, and no, I didn't have freedom because I had a baby, and that was always a challenge for someone to take care of him. So the family was still in Oregon, and Marion came down to take care of him, and then she finished her senior year at high school there, and met somebody and got married, and then the next one came down. So it was a steady parade of relatives, and finally Mom came with my youngest sister, and by then I wanted to get on graveyard shift so we could take turns in the bed. You know, if I worked graveyard, then because Mom got a job in the shipyard in the daytime that covered the babysitting and the sleeping arrangements. So that was the next big hurdle. They didn't want women on graveyard shift.
So did